The path from zero is the hardest. It's a relentless test of discipline and emotional fortitude, not of innate genius. We will not discuss get-rich-quick schemes, secret indicators, or AI-powered shortcuts, because they do not exist. Instead, we will lay down the 10 foundational, non-negotiable rules forged in the brutal reality of the markets by legendary traders like Jesse Livermore or investors like Baruch and Warren Buffett. These principles are not meant to be exciting. They are the unglamorous bedrock foundation required to keep you from financial ruin. They are your only hope for survival in an arena that guarantees nothing, forgives no one, and preys on the unprepared. Speaking of legends, one of the greatest books on trading psychology, read by nearly every famous investor and speculator, is Edwin Lefebvre's classic Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It is the thinly veiled biography of Jesse Livermore himself. To help you absorb its timeless lessons on fear, greed, hope, and discipline, we've linked in the description a unique chapter-by-chapter analysis by Max Davidson, specifically designed to translate its century-old wisdom for the modern reader. Consider it required reading. Before you even dream of making money, you must become an expert in not losing it. This is Rule 1. Capital preservation is your only job. Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest investor in history, built his entire philosophy on 2 simple rules. Rule number 1, never lose money. And rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. This isn't just a clever saying, it is a mathematical imperative. A 50% loss in your capital doesn't require a 50% gain to recover. It demands a 100% gain just to get back to even. That is a monumental, often impossible task. Your starting capital is your lifeblood. It is the ammunition you have to fight in the market. Once it's gone, you are out of the game entirely. Your primary goal is not profit, it is survival. This leads directly to Rule 2. Avoid leverage like the plague. Leverage is a double-edged sword that for an amateur only cuts one way. It is a weapon for seasoned professionals, but a suicide pill for the novice. Jesse Livermore learned this lesson with excruciating repetition in the unregulated bucket shops of the early 1900s. He would brilliantly pyramid a small stake into a fortune, only to be completely wiped out by a single over-leveraged trade that went against him. A margin call isn't a polite request from your broker. It is a forced liquidation of your positions at the worst possible price, at the moment of maximum pain, ensuring your destruction. Starting from zero means you have zero margin for error. Using leverage only guarantees that your inevitable beginner mistakes will be fatal. Building a trading career is about instilling the right habits from day one. As the philosopher Aristotle taught, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The habit of avoiding leverage, the habit of preserving capital, the habit of discipline, these are the foundations of excellence. Subscribe to this channel and return often to reinforce these principles. Let this be the place you come to forge the habits that will define your future. Rule 3. Be a student, not a gambler. The market may feel like a casino to the uninformed, but it is an economic engine driven by cycles, fundamentals, and mass psychology. It rewards diligent study and mercilessly punishes ignorant hope. Legends like Charles Dow in the late 1800s dedicated their lives to understanding the market's health through his theory that the industrial and transportation averages must confirm each other for a trend to be valid. Richard Wyckoff in the early 20th century developed a meticulous methodology for analyzing the hidden intentions of large operators through his concepts of accumulation and distribution. They did not guess. They dissected the market with the precision of a surgeon. Before you risk a single dollar, you must put in hundreds of hours of study. Your own ego is your greatest liability, which brings us to Rule 4. Cut your losses without hesitation. Bernard Baruch, a speculator who amassed a fortune and became a trusted advisor to U.S. presidents, stated his secret to success simply, I made my money by selling too soon. A novice trader holds a losing position, gets emotionally attached, and prays it will come back, allowing a small, manageable problem to metastasize into a catastrophic account-killing loss. A professional understands that a small loss is just a business expense, a tuition fee paid to the market for a valuable lesson. You must learn to sever the emotional bond with a losing trade and accept you were wrong, quickly and decisively. Hope is the most expensive word in trading. The direct counterpart to this is Rule 5. Let your winners run. The anatomy of a failed trading account is almost always the same. A long list of small, insignificant profits that are dwarfed by a few devastating losses. The beginner is terrified of a winning trade turning into a loser, so they snatch a tiny profit, feeling a moment of relief. Jesse Livermore stated it perfectly. It was never my thinking that made the big money for me. It was always my sitting. Your job is to identify a strong trend and have the immense courage and patience to ride it through all the minor pullbacks and noise. You must water your flowers and pull your weeds, not the other way around. Rule 6 is to think for yourself and ignore all hot tips. Following the crowd is a guaranteed path to mediocrity, or more likely to becoming liquidity for smarter players. Peter Lynch, who generated one of the greatest track records in history at the Fidelity Magellan Fund, built his success on deep, independent scuttlebutt research, visiting the company stores, talking to customers, and understanding the business model from the ground up. He would never buy a whisper stock. By the time you hear a stock tip at a party or see it hyped on social media, you are the last to know. The smart money has already positioned itself and is looking for uninformed buyers like you to sell to. Your only durable edge is your own analysis. This requires Rule 7. Develop and follow a system with ironclad rules. Trading without a plan is the definition of gambling. In the early 1980s, legendary commodities trader Richard Dennis made a bet with his partner, William Eckhart, on whether great traders were born or made. Dennis recruited a group of novices, the Turtles, and taught them a complete mechanical set of rules for entry, exit, position sizing, and risk management. The rules were absolute, with no room for personal opinion or emotion. The Turtles went on to make hundreds of millions of dollars, proving that a disciplined trader with a clear plan will always defeat a brilliant but impulsive trader with none. Rule 8 is to master one setup first. The market offers 1,000 ways to lose money, and the beginner attempts them all, becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. This is a fatal error. Look at a modern master like Mark Minervini. He is a specialist. He has spent decades perfecting his specific strategy for identifying super-performance stocks just as they are about to make a major move. He has built a career not by knowing everything, but by knowing one thing better than almost anyone else. Find one strategy that fits your personality. Study it, backtest it, and trade it on a small scale until you have achieved true mastery. Specialization is power. You cannot improve what you do not measure, which is why Rule 9 is to keep a detailed journal. This is the most crucial and most universally ignored piece of advice. A journal is not merely a log of your entries and exits. It is a rigorous log of your decisions, your reasoning, and most critically, your psychological state. Were you fearful when you entered? Greedy when you held too long? Impatient when you exited too early? The journal is a mirror that forces you to confront your own behavioral patterns, your biases, and your recurring forms of self-sabotage. It is the raw data you need to stop being your own worst enemy. Finally, Rule 10, conquer the enemy within. The ultimate battle in the market is not against algorithms or hedge funds. It is an intimate struggle against your own flawed human nature. In his 1949 masterpiece, The Intelligent Investor, Benjamin Graham introduced the timeless allegory of Mr. Market, your manic, depressive business partner. Some days he is euphoric, offering to buy your shares at ridiculously high prices. On other days he is despondent, offering to sell you his shares at absurdly low prices. Graham's genius was in teaching that your job is to remain rational, to ignore Mr. Market's emotional outbursts, and to transact with him only when his price serves your calculated interests. Emotional control is the final and greatest skill you must master. These 10 rules are not a magic formula. They are a framework for survival, painstakingly built upon the costly mistakes of millions who came before you. Starting from zero means you have no safety net, no cushion for errors, and absolutely no room for ego. Your discipline is your only safety net. The market is a marathon designed to exhaust your capital and your spirit. These principles, handed down by the greatest to ever play the game, are your map through that treacherous landscape. They are simple to understand, but a lifetime of work to execute. The rest is entirely up to you.